What up, y'all? I'm back with another review, and I'm here to review the newest studio album from Kemba entitled Gilda. Now, I remember reviewing Kemba's debut studio album, Negus, Negus, back in 2016 when it dropped, and I remember it being a very jazzy hip-hop album. I know he's been putting out music since like 2010, and he went by another stage name, another alias at one point. I want to say it was like YM the Cynic or YM the it was something. It wasn't Kemba though. But yeah, Kemba, he is back with his second studio album, and let's go ahead and get right into this. This is a 15 track project. Okay, 15 track project. Yeah, let's go ahead and get right into it. The first track is Work in Progress featuring Chris Scholar, Jagged Edge, and RL. This is just Kemba talking about how he's not a finished product. And I thought I heard Anderson .Paak on this track, I'm not going to lie. But this is just Kemba talking about how he needs to keep that in mind when he gets fed up with himself at times. Which I could do the same thing, like tell myself this every now and again and try to remember that. Like, it's just a work in progress. I'm not a finished product at all. So it was a cool track, very relatable track just in that. Track number 2, Captain Planet. This is him talking about just having dreams and how nothing's going to stop him, and how his mother also had dreams for him as well. So this was a cool track. Track 3, Exhale, featuring Shmino. Just a track about breathing through the pressure that or that he has, whether it be internal pressure or external pressure. Just exhaling and just breathing through that, and getting through it in a sense as well. Track number 5, didn't have anything to say about track number 4. I believe that was a skit. But track number 5, What a Day. Yeah, what a day this, what a track actually, but what a day this was for Kemba with this track. He had all this shit going on, like his dad was having more kids and then disappearing on him. His mom and his aunt stopped speaking to each other. And now everyone else is just on this other shit, and he just saying like he doesn't have time for that shit. Once again, that's very relatable, because if I feel someone's on some other shit, I won't make time for it at all. So yeah, another relatable track in that sense. I don't know what's up with my throat. I keep clearing it. Track number 6, Dysfunction. This track is about how through all the dysfunction going on in his life, he still loves his mom. He still loves his aunt. And even with all the success, dreams coming true, and money that he has, it's all insignificant compared to his loss. And just how he talks about how he couldn't get it. This was so ironic, and this is such a deep quote right here. He said, "Couldn't get through to my mom and my brother, yet I'm paid to talk to audiences. God can play a motherfucking joke." It's like, oh man, that's some shit. That is some shit. Like, you can't get through to them, the people who mean the most to you, yet you're paid to talk to audiences. Jeez, man, shit. Track number 7, Nobody I Can Trust, which I want to say was a single to promote this project. He just talks about how his circle is getting smaller and how he has niggas on lock or they're getting killed. This is just a complete banger, man. It sounds really, really, really well produced, and his flow on there just matches perfectly. Track number 9, Peter Pan. Another banger. And he talks about being self-taught and how niggas always need some shit from him, and he's just like, what the fuck? Even if I needed some shit, I got it myself. I was self-taught. Like, these niggas can do the same thing. And this beat here, it's a very fun, not necessarily wonky, but just a fun, vibrant beat. It sounds like something you would hear if you've ever played that game, Breakout, classic computer game. Then that's what this beat sounds like, something that you would have heard being played in Breakout. Track number 10, Who Would Have Thought, is actually a skit, but, well, not really a skit because it's like a minute, I believe. Just talking about who would have thought that this day would come, the end, and how just to beware, which is very fitting, very it leads to the next track perfectly, because the next track is The Fields featuring Portugal Man, who I know I've seen featured on something a good while back. I mean, while back, like maybe 2016, early 2017. But yeah, just the feels, all the feels, whether it's positive or negative, and he feels like he's being left out, being feasted on, and just all this shit is coming at him at once, and it feels like it's the end. So just to have that track, Who Would Have Thought, before that is it was just really fitting. It really set up what was to come next, and for kind of the rest of this project actually. Track number 13, Dead Ass, is just on some NY shit, because that's like the most. That's about as New York as it gets. Well, not as New York as it gets, but just that in itself, Dead Ass. Like, that's New York niggas be known for saying that shit. Not really anybody else. Now, track number 14, man, Last Year Being Broke. It's my favorite track on this project, without question. I just love it. It's him stunting out here. It's very feel good, and he talks about how it's just his last year being broke. It's the last year of his people starving, and how he's just going into 2020 on some New Year shit. Like, he can't wait for 2020 to get here, or for that New Year to get here. And this is a cool like a really, really cool track. It's, like I said, it's my favorite on here, but it's kind of not ironic, but if you're the type of person that doesn't like to do that New Year's resolution bullshit, I can imagine you listen to this track. Some people might be listening to it and it's like, yeah, I fuck with it, but I'm not on that New Year's shit. I'm starting right now. So for somebody like that, and I feel that, by the way, it's like, yo, you could be like, nah, maybe this won't be my last year being broke. Then again, I guess it could be, like, if you stop this year before the next year gets here. But still, and the last track, Alive, featuring Eric Bellinger, he always comes through on features, but when it comes to his projects, when I check them out, it's like, kind of like Ty Dolla $ign. Great with the features, but the projects themselves, except I feel Ty Dolla $ign's solo projects more than I feel Eric Bellinger's, though. Even though Eric Bellinger tends to have the more beautiful cover art. But yeah, Alive featuring Eric Bellinger. He just talks about being glad to be alive and just experiencing this culture, experiencing this life, which makes this another very relatable track, because just anybody who's happy to be alive can relate to this. But at the same time, for him to be talking about experiencing this culture, I feel like he's talking about hip hop, or more so black culture, and just to be experiencing this life, his life, which makes it unique to him. Anyone listening to that can listen to it from their perspective, living their own life, which is unique to them. And it's like, it's a very relatable track, but I feel like if you're a hip hop head, or a person of color, like, you'll feel this track even more, because you might be able to feel him more and where he's coming from, especially given like what this album's about, and like who he's putting on for, and why he's putting on. But yeah, like I said, this was a very relatable track. I mean, very relatable album. My God, man. And with tracks like Alive, tracks like Exhale, tracks like What a Day, Work in Progress, sort of Peter Pan, sort of like that. But just relatable throughout this project, and very cohesive project as well. That's another reason why I decided to review it. I'm surprised I've seen no one talk about it on Twitter, no one that I watch, or I don't even know if I've seen anybody really reacting or reviewing this project, and I don't know why. This is so great. Everybody was so hyped for Negus, but now that this is dropped, it's like, Well, it has been almost 3 years now. It's been at least or almost 3 years since that project dropped, and no one's really heard from him, from what I understand. So maybe some of the hype and some of the I don't want to say hype, I guess a bad thing, but just some of the anticipation for him kind of maybe died off some because I mean, not like artists don't do that all the time. Like Kendrick can drop 3 or 4 years, and people are always waiting for it. But Kemba's not necessarily there with Kendrick. But yeah, very cohesive project, very relatable. This was actually named after his mother, who passed in 2017. So rest in peace to my man Kemba's mother. And one more thing, he reminds me a lot of Buddy and Saba. Buddy representing South Central and or at least LA. Maybe not South Central. I could be right, I could be wrong, but I know it's at least LA, representing Southern California and everything. And Saba representing Chicago. I want to say West Side. He reminds me of those two, but not like he is like necessarily drowned in influence or can't get out of that. He just reminds me of them. Just having that feel good, cohesive music that you can ride to or just sit down and vibe to. I'm just really feeling this project. I'd give this project a 7.5 to a 7.75 out of 10. If you've heard this project, let me know what you think about it in the comment section below and what you think about my review on it. If you haven't heard this project, I definitely recommend that you check it out. So be sure to check it out. I'll leave a link in the description so you can check it out. Be sure to check it out, come back, let me know what you think about it and what you think about my review. And also be sure to hit the like button if you like this video. Share the video, subscribe if you're new. Check the description because my social media links as well as other things are down there as well. And that's pretty much it. Thank y'all for watching, and I will see y'all next time.